What's going on, guys? We're back. This one is more serious. Last time I heard not the last part, no, sorry, it was Justin Hunt's video, reacting to Cardi B's trial, which hilarious. Still one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. This one's a little bit more serious. This one is actually a story that I think broke either today or yesterday. It's a fresh story. So the fact that it's a fresh story, kind of like a breaking news story, I'm going to be very careful when it comes to my opinion, certain arguments, certain claims, and certain things that I might view about this. First things first, I do not know who the singer is. The singer's name is David, but I've not heard David. Listen, David, there's apparently some songs that were popular on TikTok. I'm on TikTok, but I guess I'm not on that side of TikTok. And while he was on tour back in California, they had discovered uh, this teen because he saw a decomposed body of teen girl found in singer's trunk. So while he was on tour, somebody reported a foul smell from his Tesla and opened the trunk and found this girl wrapped up in his trunk. So looks like they have the identity found. There's a couple of details. They said David is cooperating, but gonna go to Line Crime Network, see what they got on to see what information they've gotten from the police, from first reports, first everything. This is fresh news, brand new news. So let's get into it.
New details just released about the identity of the person found wrapped in plastic discovered in the trunk of a singer's car. We're breaking down the latest and where the investigation stands now, as the singer's rep maintains that he's fully cooperating with the investigation.
I would hope he is, because if he didn't cooperate, it would look really suspicious. But hey, he's cooperating. He's he looks very, very. And once the video's done, because I watched the video earlier about this, it wasn't on the Line Crime Network, but it's somebody who was looking over this, and they were a little low key immature about how they were handling this. But at a certain point, probably halfway through the video to the end of the Law and Crime Network video, there were things that I learned about David that makes it believe this is a way wilder case than just some random girl just got found in his trunk. This, if what I heard and what I saw in the video was true, then this might be an even crazier case than it already is.
Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Investigators say the remains were of a 15-year-old girl who was reported missing last year. But even with this new lead at this time, police are keeping tight-lipped if they have a suspect or a person of interest. Earlier this month, employees at a tow yard in Hollywood noticed a strong odor coming from one of the cars. The smell was so strong and foul, they had no choice but to call police. When officers arrived, that's when the startling discovery was made. A body was wrapped in plastic and dumped in the vehicle's trunk. When investigators dug into who that car belonged to, they learned it was registered to the singer David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke. Officials say that the car was towed from the Hollywood Hills after someone reported it missing. Investigators believe that the body was put in the trunk about 5 days before it was towed to the impound lot. Now, initially, we did.
Wait, so wait, hold on. So I'm a little confused. So no, I'm a little confused. Okay, so far, 15-year-old missing for a year. Just said the body was probably had to be put in the trunk 5 days before it was found. And the car is reported stolen. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. So was the car report stolen by David? Because the way it made it seem like is that he was on tour when they found the body in his car. So the question would be, would it be somebody who was like back home who reported the car missing? So maybe they might get into that, but that's okay. So the car was reported stolen.
didn't know much, including who was the victim. Did the victim have ties to the singer? Was the singer a person of interest or a suspect? We're still waiting to learn more, but now investigators reportedly identified who the victim is. We're learning this week that the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner ID'd the victim as a 15-year-old girl named Celeste Rivas. According to LAPD, the victim was 5'2", had wavy hair, and a tattoo on her right index finger that says shh. She was found wearing a tube top, black leggings, an earring, and a yellow metal chain bracelet. According to a report by TMZ, though, the singer David also had that exact same tattoo on his right index finger. But that doesn't necessarily.
Okay. Couple things it could be. One, that she's a fan and she saw David had the tattoo and got it herself. Because I've seen it where fans like copy tattoos of their favorite artists. So David might have been her favorite artist and she copied the tattoo, same one he had on the index finger. The other explanation is that they got the tattoo together. Like they got matching tattoos together. Those are the two options. I don't know if they got them together. I don't think they did. According to the video I watched earlier, they did. Yeah. I'm gonna get into that in a second. In a second. I'm just gonna let the video play a little bit more.
Fairly equal murder suspect. It might be an odd coincidence, especially with other celebs like Lindsay Lohan, Rihanna, and Lily Allen sporting the same tat. Here's what else we know about 15-year-old Celeste. Her mom told local reporters she had been missing for more than a year. Her mom said when she saw the news of the body found in David's Tesla, it was suspicious to her because her daughter's boyfriend's name was also David. Little
So either it's another David or it's this singer David that's her boyfriend, but David's 20, so now that so she had been missing since she was 14. So she'd been missing 14. How the fuck did she end up in David's trunk is my question. And her mom said she had a boyfriend named David. I don't know if it was the singer. I have no idea.
is known at this time about the events leading up to Celeste going missing. According to a missing poster, she was last seen on April 5th of 2024 in Lake Elsinore, California. That was when she was 13 years old. She was last seen wearing gray pants, a black sweater, hat, and Hello Kitty sandals. Attorneys for the singer say that he continues to cooperate with the investigation. While authorities haven't publicly said that he is a suspect,
This is David. He looks like a streamer, but apparently he's a singer. I mean, he looks like a streamer. He's got songs popping on TikTok, so that kind of checks out.
that hasn't stopped some people from jumping to their own conclusions. Some eagle-eyed fans pointed to David's previous songs as some kind of clues or messages, like Romantic Homicide, for example. His lyrics include, "In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you." Now, that song was released in 2022, 2 years before Celeste went missing and 3 years before her body was discovered. But again, it didn't stop some people from speculating. Then, in another report from TMZ released Wednesday, the singer professed his love to someone named Celeste in an unreleased song. According to the report, those unreleased tracks included the lyrics, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed." The other verse included the lyrics, "Oh Celeste, afraid you'll only love me when undressed, but you look so damn gorgeous in that dress. Missing you so much makes me depressed, but I digress because." Now, according to the report, that song was leaked in December of 2023, just months before Celeste was officially reported missing. And it's important to note no official confirmation Celeste in the leaked song is the same Celeste found in the car. Companies like Crocs and Hollister pulled their marketing campaigns after Celeste's body was discovered too. In a joint statement, the brands wrote, "We are aware of this developing story. With respect to the current situation, we have removed campaign content featuring David while the investigation continues." According to a previous
So they didn't even wait. The investigation's still going on, and Crocs and Haas are both dropped him. That's nuts. But I get it. They're a business, and they don't want to be attached to this shit. They got brands and shit. They ain't trying to be attached to this, so I get it. I understand. I get it. It's awkward that he's talking about a girl named Celeste, numerous songs, numerous lead songs. Yes, before she went missing, but it's just wild coincidence. Her mom saying she had a boyfriend named David. This dude having numerous songs about a girl named Celeste, and a girl named Celeste ended up in his trunk wrapped in plastic. It could be one big ass coincidence, but it's a lot of coincidence going on with this.
This report by TMZ, it was police who told David that there was a body inside his Tesla because he had no idea what was going on. But it's still unclear how the car registered to him ended up in a tow lot if it wasn't even reported missing. Again, the singer's rep says that he has been cooperating, but we learned today he's pausing his current world tour. According to TMZ, he was supposed to hit the stage in Seattle for a concert, but sources tell the outlet that concert was canceled and the rest of his tour is on pause. Following the latest in the investigation, ABC 7 Eyewitness News reports a house close to where the Tesla was abandoned was searched. Dozens of investigators were reportedly seen taking a computer and other items from a home in Hollywood. Some homeowners told the news outlet they remembered seeing that Tesla for a while, either parked at the house where police conducted their search or at other spots on the same street. But as of this recording, he isn't named as a suspect, and no criminal charges have been filed against him. So the mystery and investigation continues. I'm joined now by retired FBI agent Colin Schmidt. Colin, thank you so much for joining me. What's your reaction to this latest development as the medical examiner says that the body found in the trunk was a 15-year-old girl?
Well, it looks like it's a terrible, terrible tragedy for that 15-year-old girl's family is obviously the victim. And the fact that she was found in a trunk, it indicates that there's some level of foul play at with this. And it's only going to get more interesting and probably more tragic as the story comes out.
And I think probably, the biggest part of this story is that the car that the victim was found in was registered to a very popular singer. And we know that the singer is cooperating with the investigation, and officials haven't named him as a suspect or a person of interest. But in your opinion, with the information that we know now, do you think that he has anything to do with it?
Well, the problem is for whoever did this, a Tesla is nothing more than a rolling supercomputer. So it's going to have all kinds of information in there when they get to and when the engineers get in and get all the data. So I'm confident they're going to know exactly what happened in a very short period of time. And then the fact that there's such a close connection between the decedent and this rapper, it's only going to get more interesting, like I said, as far as what really happened.
And it's interesting, too, kind of the circumstances as we're learning more, because the victim's mom even told police that she got suspicious it was her daughter because her daughter also had a boyfriend named David. Do you think that that's just a terrible coincidence? And also, we're learning that they both had this tattoo on their index finger with the letters sh written on it, kind of similar to a lot of other celebrities, especially kind of in the millennial era, who also had that same tattoo. But do you think this is all just a terrible coincidence?
Well, unfortunately, in violent crime, there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's a coincidence is actual circumstantial evidence.
Mm.
So all these data points are starting to point towards this rapper. We don't know what his role was, and if indeed he did have anything to do with it, but it does appear that there's some sort of culpability that this rapper is going to have with this girl's death.
Yeah, nah, the mom's boyfriend said her name is David. You both got the tattoo. The numerous songs about a girl named Celeste she's found in the car. God bless that it's a Tesla. I know how I feel about Elon Musk, but when it comes to the Teslas, you, it's basically going to be like they're going to know exactly what the fuck happened in there. They're going to know exactly what happened in there. So if he's not involved, we ain't got nothing to worry about. But if he is, he might just be cooperating in order to keep the suspicion off himself. But I don't know. Who knows?
And where does the investigation or investigators really go from here? You know, they know the identity of the victim. The cause of death right now is listed as deferred, but what happens next?
Well, the most important piece of evidence is the body. The body tells the entire story. So, as I understand it from social media, that the medical examiner has not finished their investigation, and then the next step of that would be obviously the toxicology reports, which take a couple of days to a couple of weeks to get back, and then that's going to point the investigators in the direction of where to take their next steps, as well as the search of the interior of the compartment that she was found in and the passenger compartment. Because if there was any blood or any signs of foul play or violence, then that obviously points into a direction that they need to go.
And what's going to be more important to the investigation, finding out what happened inside that car, if anything happened inside that car, or the forensic evidence in the car, or is it going to be finding where the scene of the crime actually took place and kind of working backwards really from there?
Well, working backwards is from the body, and the body will start is basically points all the directional arrows, so to speak, on where to go, and then from there, obviously, they go and do a forensic analysis of that car, and then, like I said, the most important piece of that car is that onboard computer, which has so much information that even Tesla owners don't know what the extent of the information that car has on it, and I'm fairly confident that the owner of the car wasn't sophisticated enough to know how to wipe or to get rid of that information that's on that car.
Does it change anything? You know, we know the Tesla car is like kind of like a smart car. And even though I'm not as technologically savvy as you are, Colin, I'm interested in knowing, does it change anything in terms of the investigation because the car was towed over into that impound lot? Does that change anything in terms of the data that might be on that car or anything like that?
No, I mean, when the car is on, it's gathering thousands of data points. Now it was off. Basically, we can presume that it was on up until the time it was towed, so they know where it was when it was towed to that. So the tow part isn't really mean anything other than chain of custody. So from the time that it was sitting there or towed back 24, 48, or even 2 weeks, they're going to be able to know exactly where that car was, whether it was an accident. There's even cameras, interior and exterior, that are taking footage. So they're going to end up likely knowing who was in the car prior to it being disposed of.
And say, you know, because we know that this is also, again, a very big story because it kind of surrounds the singer David because the car was registered to him. But say investigators learn, you know, he has been cooperating with the investigation. Again, he hasn't been named as a suspect or anything like that. But say investigators learn that he was out on tour, or he was at an event or something. He has an alibi for the time frame that they believe the murder took place. What happens next in terms of how they find possibly who might else be involved in this?
Well, they're also going to find her phone.
Mhm.
Possibly, they didn't say whether the phone was on her or not. And then the phone obviously is, especially for a 15-year-old, her whole life is in that phone. So they're going to be able to establish her circle of friends and start interviewing all of those people, as well as interviewing all the people around this rapper to see this music artist, was to see if they know anything and they know what exactly happened. I mean, the bottom.
Depending how connected they are to David, they might not say anything. They might not say that because that's if David is involved. But it wouldn't be the first time that they let like a musical artist, especially a popular musical artist, get away with certain stuff, even stuff like being involved. Because David's 20, so that would mean Celeste would very much underage. Very much so. And if that was her boyfriend, this has to have been, that would have been, they've been going back for years. And that's allegedly that happened. So they might bring a timeline to where David might have been involved with this girl while she died when she was underage. So he might have been engaged with an underage girl. And that might go to motive. So why she ended up in his trunk. So nobody would find out. That's if that happened. I'm not 100% sure. But if they find that type of romantic connection between them and find out that David was messing around with an underage girl, that could be looked at as one of the either one of the key motives or the key motive to why she ended up where she ended up.
Bottom line is you don't crawl into a car and close the hood. You know, somebody had to have put her in that car, whether she was alive or dead when it happened. that will be something that the investigators will definitely find out. And I believe it happened in the LAPD territory, and they're
Correct.
considered the best homicide investigators in the world. So I have absolute certainty that they're going to determine who did this and or what happened.
And even that whole other aspect, because again, we're just learning this information pretty much today, is that she was reported missing about a year ago. How important is that time frame of when she was missing and how long of a period that was? How will that kind of play into her death investigation?
Well, I think that that's important that the family lost track of her a year ago, but it still comes right back to that car and what was going on in the car prior to the tow truck picking it up, and then being able to establish the timeline. So in any investigation or violent crime investigation, the timeline is the most important. So they're going to have a timeline starting from when the car was found or when it was reported, and they'll go back 24, 48, or even 2 weeks, and they'll be able to identify every place that car was and likely where she was. And that'll be with that, they'll be able to fill in the blanks and then identify who was involved in her death. Now, she may have not been killed. She may have died of a drug overdose and somebody put her in the car.
Mm.
Either way, somebody's responsible for her being in that vehicle.
Yeah, and I'm sure investigators and even her family are trying to find out what happened to her, if they can gather any type of details to figure out what all had happened. Colin, I want to thank you so much for your time and your insight into this case. I did have one final question for you. In terms of investigating a case like this, where you have very little to go off of, how different is it to investigate a case like this now in 2025, where you have surveillance cameras, you have smart cars that gather all this technology and information, as opposed to maybe like 20 years ago, where we didn't have all this technology readily available like we do now?
Well, I think it kind of on its face, it appears cognitively that it should be easier, but in fact, it's actually harder because the investigators are just overloaded with data and information. And at some point, AI will probably be taking a role in these kind of investigations to sift through the mountains of data that these investigators receive from their court orders to Tesla or to the.
Just give up crime. If you're a criminal, just give up crime. They're using AI to sift through evidence to get you. Everything you got tracks you. Everything you got has data about you. I'm sweating my ass off. It is hot in this room. But either way, y'all might as well just give up crime. You can't get away with shit. Surveillance cameras, AI, smart cars, your fucking phone tracks you. Your phone keeps track of your data. Your car keeps track of your data. There is nothing you have that will not get you caught. So if David did this, they got him fucked 3 ways from Sunday. If David did this or whoever did this, that person is fucked 3 ways from Sunday because that Tesla gave it all away. All away. That trial might be open and shut. The biggest slam dunk, the biggest three half court shot, nothing but net. You basically the Tesla gonna give him the whole case.
iPhone or wherever to kind of be able to filter out all the noise and be able to get to the point. 20 years ago, it was a matter of just going and interviewing people and getting their story. Now it's a whole different story with all these data points that investigators have to sift through.
And so, with that being said, do you see that there might be a possibly end in sight in terms of the investigation anytime soon, or do you think that this might be a very long investigation?
Well, based upon it was in a Tesla, I would speculate that it's not going to be long. If it was in like a Mustang from the 60s that has no onboard computing ability, it would be kind of a different story. But like I said, that Tesla has so much data in it and there's so many tools out there that will aid the investigators on getting through that data. I expect that they likely will quickly know exactly what happened to that girl.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and I hope that they find out soon what happened to her, because it's just devastating overall, just how horrible this case truly is. Again, Colin Schmidt, thank you so much for your time and insight into this case. I really appreciate it.
All right. So keep some updates on that case when we get it, whenever it comes to. Gonna keep looking at this, whether David gets acquitted and gets cleared of any sort of suspicion about it. or they find out he wasn't and he gets charged. I'll keep my eyes on it. I'll keep looking at it. But guys, that's it for me today. That's it for this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.